Welcome back, everybody. There has been a huge recent effort to actually track the missing $3.5 billion in Bitcoin from the Luna reserves. We're going to cover the recent update on that. Then we're going to dive into Terra Luna's response, and then finally cover some of the recent scams that are coming out featuring Terra Luna, Kwon, and I want to make sure you guys do not fall for those, so I'm going to update you on that. Let's dive right in. So first of all, the biggest question, and you guys were talking about this in the comments of the last video, is what happened to Terra's Bitcoin reserves? As we remember, they started buying up a ton of Bitcoin, meaning the Luna Foundation Guard bought it up, and they had stockpiled over 3.5 billion in reserves of Bitcoin, Avalanche, Luna, and UST to deploy if UST ever slipped below $1. Now, they started buying this back in January, so between January and March, they accumulated all of this. Now, let's walk through just a step-by-step, day-by-day, what actually happened to this money. So if we're looking here, on Monday, after LFG's announcement of the $1.5 billion loan, a Bitcoin address associated with LFG sent roughly 750 million worth of Bitcoin to a new address. That evening, a further 930 million worth of Bitcoin was sent from multiple LFG associated wallets to the same new address. This total, 52,000 Bitcoin over $1.6 billion, was then moved from the new address to a single Gemini account. Now, the leftover Bitcoin, about 875 million at the time in LFG's reserves, early Tuesday morning, the whole amount was moved to an account at Binance. Now, the issue is that it's really, really hard to track it from there. So Bitcoin in those Gemini and Binance accounts was sold off to buy, it's really not known if Bitcoin in those Gemini and Binance accounts owned by LFG was actually sold off to buy large amounts of UST. So it's not possible to actually further trace whether those massive sums of Bitcoin were sold or moved to any other wallets that are still in LFG's control. So it's really, really hard to say. This definitely looks really sketchy from the standpoint of Kwon and Terra Luna, especially since they've been basically silent, the last few days. I think the last time Kwon posted was May 13th, and we'll cover that. But this does not bode well for them, right? I mean, if they're not able to account for this missing Bitcoin and explain what's going on here, they're going to lose complete trust, and basically this recovery plan will be dead on arrival. No one's going to trust them. Barely anyone trusts them now, but especially if they're not going to be able to answer for this. So let's take a quick look at the reserves here, and sorry about that, need to reload this up. If we can see right here, on May 3rd, we started to see a steep decline, and then on May 7th, we actually saw that completely drop out of the floor. And right now, there are still some reserves left in there, just about 67 million AVAX, and then about 9 million UST in there. But that's taking a look at the reserves. You can see steady incline as they started to buy more Bitcoin between January and May. And then obviously that drop to the ground here as of late as they tried to, take that out for the UST peg. Now, whether they actually deployed it to try to repeg UST, that's kind of the drama that's going on right now and what we need an answer for. So, of course, our main man, CZ, chimed in on this. He's been posting a couple other threads, kind of updating people on his thoughts on Terra Luna, where Binance stands from their responsibility of this. But this is kind of him in response to this too, right? So he's saying, in this regard, I would like to see more transparency from Luna, much more, including specific on-chain transactions, so actual transaction IDs of all the funds. So relying on third-party analysis is not sufficient or accurate. So that's what we just covered, right? The third-party analysis was from a company called, I think, Elliptic, something like that. And so he's saying this is completely, inefficient. You're talking about basically having that substantiate all these people losing money, right? So that's definitely not something that we want to see happen in the crypto space, and he's calling that out right there. The other thing that he cleared up today, which was great because this was a rumor that was actually circulating around. So he asked his team about the rumored second round of investments for UST, and he said there were discussions, but they never closed. So Binance did not buy UST. There's been a lot of rumors going around that Binance purchased some UST, and that's just not true. So he cleared up that rumor, and it's good to point that out. Happy he cleared that up. The other thing too is that although DoQuan hasn't really posted anything recently, the actual official Terra LUNA Twitter page has. So they're saying a post-mortem on everything that transpired this past week is in progress and it'll be published ASAP. This was just a few hours ago, I believe earlier today. They pinned the tweets. They want everyone to see it. And obviously they're acknowledging that the difficult times, but at the same time, I don't really know what they're going to do to be able to explain this. We're going to have to see. Obviously, I'll send an update out to you guys once we know more, but we should see a announcement or an update coming in the next couple of days from them. And just to reiterate this, right? The last time DoQuan actually communicated to, Luna, the community, everyone, was 4:15. This is, my local time, but basically 2 days ago. So radio silence for 2 days when people are losing millions and millions of dollars in total, right? Not a great look, especially with all of this new kind of tracking coming out about where this Bitcoin could be going. So we definitely need a response from him sometime soon here. And as more time goes, the trust just keeps going down and down. As I could tell from you guys responding to the last video, right? It's really, really hard to trust him. And that plays into this next point, right? So I got to actually having some great conversations with you guys over the last couple of days. And this has kind of been the biggest concern, right? It's not even, hey, can Luna survive? It's how does this affect the overall DeFi and crypto market? And we're starting to see it have a serious impact. So just recently, $100 billion left the DeFi economy. So total value locked, that's the amount of money that's actually existing in DeFi, whether that's through staking, swapping, anything in a DeFi protocol. This is kind of tracking all of that. So it plummeted from 231 billion to 112 billion, losing half of the value in just 42 days. And most of that loss has come in the last 2 weeks as this Luna stuff has kind of taken stride and it's come up and it needs to be addressed, right? So this is starting to have a serious impact across crypto, across all of DeFi, and it's important not to neglect that, right? I mean, DoQuan himself and Terra LUNA are now responsible for a lot of this fallout. So definitely getting ugly across crypto. We did see Bitcoin bounce today, but in terms of DeFi, it's going to be really, really hard to bring trust back, across the entire group of projects. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch on to make sure that you guys are aware of this, that you guys are not falling for any of this, not that I think you would, but there are some serious scammers going on right now, going onto YouTube, hosting live streams, saying, hey, if you send money to this website, we'll send you double back immediately. Now, it looks legit, and we're seeing a lot of views on these videos. You can see here's one here. It usually will say live, and it'll have a picture of DoQuan. We can see another one right here. And what these look like is essentially, it looks really official, right? And, a ton of engagement, probably most of these are bots, but at the same time, it is showing a past interview that happened with DoQuan and saying, hey, this is happening right now, send your money to this website. And it's a scam. Your money is going to be gone if you do this. So I just want to make you aware, this is what the other one looks like. And you can see, right, it's tricky. 51,000 likes, over 100,000 views. Like, this looks legitimate if you're really kind of in a tunnel vision zone, going through the motions and not really paying attention. It's easy to fall for these, right? So just wanted to make you guys aware of that, that these scams are going around. But hopefully that was helpful. I think we have a long way to go in terms of DoQuan, Terra LUNA building back this trust. And at the same time, I think a lot of us are waiting for that announcement here in the next couple of days from Terra LUNA. They're supposed to do an entire deep dive on what happened and kind of explain themselves. Right now, it's been silence, and all of it looks pretty bad. It looks like they're basically have potentially run off with this money. There's accusations of stealing. There's accusations of DoQuan pocketing that money and then using that maybe for another project or just hiding that. But again, really what it comes down to is that this cannot be accounted for. So this 1.5, almost $3 billion could just be off in the ether somewhere or in DoQuan's pocket. So it's really hard to say, but hopefully more comes out, and I will make sure to update you guys on that. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.